Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to another episode of the Real Crime Diary. Today, we take a deep dive into a case that gripped New York City and shocked the nation. In the spring of 2018, the streets of the Big Apple were rocked by a crime so gruesome, it sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened New Yorkers. The case involved a man named Cory Martin and a young woman, Brandy Odom. The details of this crime, with its chilling undertones of greed and manipulation, would soon unfold to reveal a story that seemed more like a macabre TV show script than reality. But this was no work of fiction. In fact, it was a meticulously planned act of violence that ended in the untimely death of a woman, all for the sake of a fraudulent life insurance payout. The plot thickens with the revelation that Martin drew inspiration from crime TV shows, a morbid fascination that would ultimately lead to his downfall. As we peel back the layers of this disturbing case, we'll explore the dark corners of human nature where avarice overshadows empathy and life becomes a mere commodity. Prepare yourself as we delve into the darkness and uncover the disturbing truth behind the murder of Brandy Odom. Before we explore the depths of this crime, let's first understand who Brandy Odom was. Brandy Odom was a 26-year-old woman with dreams and aspirations just like any other. She was a daughter, a friend, a person with a full life ahead of her, who unfortunately found herself caught in the grim world of sex trafficking. Brandy was managed by Cory Martin, a man who saw her not as a human being with rights and dignity, but as a means to an end, a moneymaker. Born and raised in New York City, Brandy had her fair share of struggles, but she never ceased to dream. She had hopes of a better life, dreams that were brutally snuffed out in April of 2018. Despite her circumstances, Brandy was known for her fighting spirit, a spirit that was tragically extinguished far too soon. She was forced into a life she did not choose, a life that was controlled by Cory Martin. Martin, a 36-year-old pimp, manipulated and exploited Brandy, leading her down a path of despair and ultimately death. But in the midst of this darkness, Brandy's resilience shone through. She was more than just a victim. She was a fighter, a woman who, despite her circumstances, never lost her will to survive. Her life was tragically cut short by the very person who was supposed to protect her. Brandy Odom's story is not just one of tragedy, but also a warning about the pervasive issue of human trafficking and the devastating consequences it can have on its victims. The tale of Brandy Odom is a chilling reminder of the dark underbelly of society where greed and dehumanization can lead to unspeakable acts. It's a story that exposes the monstrous depths some individuals can sink to, all in the pursuit of illicit gains. A life cut short in a disturbingly brutal manner, Brandy Odom's story is a testament to the darkest corners of human nature. At the center of this horrifying tale stands Cory Martin, a man whose actions shook the foundations of human decency. Cory Martin, a New Yorker, lived a life far removed from the ordinary. Known in the underbelly of Queens as a pimp, Martin was no stranger to the darker side of humanity. But beneath this veneer of street toughness lay an even more disturbing layer of calculated cruelty. Martin's relationship with Brandy Odom was not one of love or mutual respect, but of control and exploitation. Brandy, a young woman with dreams and aspirations, was reduced to a pawn in Martin's twisted game of power and greed. He managed her life, controlled her actions, and profited from her suffering. As we delve deeper into Martin's life, we see a man fascinated by crime and the macabre. His obsession with crime shows, particularly Dexter, was not just a morbid interest, but a study in sinister tactics. He studied these shows meticulously, extracting tips and strategies to plot the perfect crime. But what raised the stakes in this chilling narrative was Martin's diabolical plan. Alongside his accomplice, Adele Anderson, Martin hatched a plot that was as cold-blooded as it was shocking. They took out life insurance policies on Brandy, not to secure her future, but to secure their own illicit gains. This was a plan motivated not by love or concern, but by pure, unadulterated greed. Martin's internet activity further revealed his dark intentions. He searched for tools used in dismemberment, a chilling indication of the grisly path he was about to tread. Every click, every search, every purchase was a step closer to the horrifying crime that was about to unfold. A man of sinister intentions, Cory Martin was about to orchestrate a crime that would send shockwaves across the nation. April 2018 marked the end of Brandy's life and the beginning of a deeply unsettling criminal investigation. Brandy Odom, a woman who had been trafficked for commercial sex, was strangled to death in a crime of chilling premeditation. The perpetrator was none other than Cory Martin, a man who managed Brandy and lived with her. But this was no impulsive crime of passion. No, this was a calculated act of cold-blooded murder motivated by nothing more than pure greed. Martin, together with his co-conspirator Adele Anderson, had orchestrated an elaborate scheme to profit from Brandy's death. They had fraudulently taken out life insurance policies in Brandy's name and planned her murder down to the last gruesome detail. A detail that included watching popular crime TV shows like Dexter for tips on how to cover up a murder. The murder itself was only the beginning of the horror. After strangling Brandy, Martin dismembered her body in a bathtub, a task for which he had been preparing. Evidence showed his purchase of a reciprocating saw, the tool used in the dismemberment, and his online activity included detailed searches for methods to carry out the crime and evade detection. Once the gruesome act was completed, Martin and Anderson disposed of Brandy's remains in Canarsie Park, scattering the body parts in an attempt to make identification more difficult. However, their efforts to cover up their ghastly crime were in vain. When the dismembered remains were discovered, the city of New York was plunged into a state of shock and disbelief, marking the beginning of a complex and horrifying criminal investigation. In the aftermath of the murder, Martin and Anderson attempted to claim the insurance benefits. Their greed, however, would be their downfall. Their actions and attempts to access the insurance benefits would come under the scrutiny of the law, ultimately leading to their undoing. A crime so meticulously planned and executed, it left the city in a state of shock and disbelief. As the news of Brandy's murder swept across the city, a determined team of investigators began to unravel the threads of this complex case. The task was immense and chilling. It was not just about bringing the perpetrator to justice, but also about piecing together the last moments of a young woman whose life was abruptly and brutally ended. The investigators had their work cut out for them, but they were relentless. Every piece of evidence, every lead, was followed with tenacity and diligence. The first breakthrough came when they discovered the role of Adele Anderson, a co-conspirator in this heinous crime. Anderson's testimony revealed a deeply disturbing plot, one that was coldly calculated and executed. It was a tale of manipulation and deceit, where Brandy Odom was reduced to a mere pawn in a game of greed and lust for money. Anderson confessed that she and Martin had taken out life insurance policies on Brandy, a clear indication of their sinister intentions. This was not a crime of passion or impulse, but a premeditated act of violence. Their objective was clear: to profit from Brandy's death. But the plot didn't stop at taking out life insurance policies. Anderson shared how they had meticulously planned the murder, drawing inspiration from crime shows like Dexter. They watched these shows not for entertainment, but as a gruesome guide to committing and covering up a murder. This chilling detail offered a glimpse into the dark and distorted minds behind the crime. Evidence also came in the form of Martin's online activity. His internet searches revealed a morbid curiosity and a chilling intent. He had searched for tools used in dismemberment, a clear link to the brutal manner in which Brandy's body was found. His digital footprint, it seemed, was leading the investigators right to him. Moreover, Martin's attempt to claim the insurance benefits after Brandy's murder was the final nail in the coffin. His actions post-murder were not of grief or shock, but of blatant greed. It was as if he was leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for the investigators, a trail that was guiding them towards the horrifying truth. The investigation wasn't just about physical evidence or digital footprints, it was also about understanding the motive, the psyche of the perpetrator. And as the investigators delved deeper into the case, they found themselves face to face with a chilling reality. This wasn't just a murder, it was a meticulously planned act of violence, a cold-blooded crime driven by greed. With each piece of evidence, the horrifying truth began to surface, leading investigators closer to the man behind the mask. The stage was set for a trial that would expose the chilling details of Brandy's murder and the individuals who orchestrated it. The trial proceedings began with a room filled with anticipation. The prosecution presented a damning case against Cory Martin, laying out the meticulously planned scheme that led to Brandy Odom's untimely end. They revealed Martin's obsession with crime shows like Dexter, which he used as a guide to cover up his heinous act. The prosecution also exposed evidence of Martin's online activities, including searches for tools used in the dismemberment and efforts to evade detection. The courtroom was shown how Martin had taken out multiple life insurance policies on Brandy, a clear indication of his premeditated intent. The prosecution argued that greed was the driving force behind the murder, a chilling testament to Martin's cold-blooded calculation. But the most damning evidence came from Adele Anderson, Martin's co-conspirator. Her testimony painted a horrifying picture of the murder, detailing how they strangled Brandy, dismembered her, and disposed of her remains in Canarsie Park. Anderson's words revealed the true extent of their callous disregard for human life. The defense, however, argued a different narrative. They presented the theory of a love triangle, suggesting that it was Anderson who carried out the murder out of jealousy. But the jury was not swayed by this explanation. The incriminating evidence against Martin, coupled with Anderson's testimony, painted a clear picture of his guilt. The trial also highlighted the deep-seated issues of human trafficking and the exploitation of vulnerable individuals. It served as a stark reminder of the need for vigilant law enforcement and community action to combat these atrocities. The courtroom was filled with a palpable tension as the trial progressed, with each revelation adding another layer to the horrifying reality of Brandy's last moments. The evidence was overwhelming, the testimonies chilling, and Martin's guilt became increasingly clear. As the trial concluded, justice was served, and the true face of Cory Martin was revealed to the world. In a case that gripped the nation, the final verdict served as a grim reminder of the depths of human depravity. A federal jury in Brooklyn found Cory Martin guilty on all counts. The charges included murder for hire, wire fraud conspiracy, and aggravated identity theft. The verdict was a culmination of a chilling tale of greed, manipulation, and the brutal murder of Brandy Odom. The courtroom fell silent as the list of Martin's crimes was read aloud, the weight of his actions settling heavily in the room. The jury had not been swayed by the defense's attempts to pin the blame on co-conspirator Adele Anderson, who had already pleaded guilty to charges related to the murder. The evidence was undeniable. From Martin's disturbing online searches to the purchase of a reciprocating saw, each piece painted a horrifying picture of calculated cruelty. The sentencing was scheduled for July of 2024. The judge had no hesitation in delivering a mandatory life sentence. Martin would spend the rest of his days behind bars, a small consolation for the life he had taken so ruthlessly. Outside the court, the public reaction was a mix of shock and relief. Shock at the ghastly details of the crime and relief that justice had been served. However, for Brandy's family, the verdict provided little comfort. Nothing could bring back their beloved Brandy. Yet there was a sense of closure, a hope that they could begin to heal from this unimaginable pain. The United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York condemned Martin's actions as a ghastly, cold-blooded crime motivated by greed. He praised the collaborative efforts of law enforcement agencies in bringing the perpetrator to justice. In the wake of this unsettling case, the city was left to grapple with the horrifying reality of what one man's greed could drive him to do. The memory of Brandy Odom served as a poignant reminder of the victims of human trafficking and the urgent need to combat this pervasive crime. As we look back on this chilling case, we are reminded of the dark underbelly of society that often goes unnoticed. The story of Brandy Odom, Cory Martin, and the horrifying deeds that unfolded in their lives is a stark testament to the grim realities that exist, often hidden in plain sight. This case brings to the forefront the grave issue of human trafficking. Brandy Odom, a young woman in her prime, was reduced to a commodity, a moneymaker, in the words of Cory Martin. Her life was snuffed out, not in a fit of rage or a moment of madness, but as part of a cold, calculated scheme for financial gain. This harrowing reality underscores the urgent need for more stringent measures to combat human trafficking and the importance of spreading awareness about this heinous crime. Another disturbing facet of this case was the role of modern media, specifically crime TV shows, in the orchestration of this gruesome act. Martin's fascination with these shows, notably Dexter, not only provided him with a macabre blueprint for his crime, but also fueled his twisted fantasies and desire to commit such an act. This raises serious questions about the portrayal of violence in media and its potential influence on impressionable minds. As we delve deeper into the psychological aspects of this case, we encounter a disturbing portrait of greed, manipulation, and utter disregard for human life. Martin's calculated planning, his lack of remorse, and his complete objectification of Odum present a chilling depiction of a sociopath. This case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, understanding, and empathy in combating the darkness that lurks within our society. As we move forward, let us not forget the lessons learned from the tragic story of Brandy Odom and strive to ensure that such horrendous acts of violence are not repeated. As we conclude our exploration of this disturbing case, we invite you to share your thoughts. The narrative of Brandy Odom's tragic end is a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the hearts of men. Cory Martin, a man driven by greed and cold calculation, committed a crime so heinous it's almost unfathomable. This tale serves as a chilling testament to the lengths some will go to for money, exploiting and extinguishing the life of a fellow human being. But what can we learn from this grim tale? Perhaps it's the importance of vigilance, of looking out for one another, of recognizing when someone may be in a dangerous situation. Or maybe it's a call to shed more light on the issue of human trafficking, a crime that often goes unseen and unaddressed, yet affects countless lives around the globe. It's also a stark reminder of the power of the digital footprint we leave behind and how it can be used to bring justice to victims. We encourage you to delve deeper, to question and to learn. Do you have any theories about this case? What could have been done to prevent this tragedy? If there are any similar stories you've heard, or if you have personal experiences you'd like to share, we invite you to do so. Let's continue this conversation. Let's keep questioning, keep learning, and together, let's strive to understand the complex web of human motivations and actions. It's only through conversation and shared knowledge that we can hope to make sense of such senseless acts and perhaps prevent them in the future. What do you think drives a person to commit such heinous crimes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the darkest corners of human nature. Today we've shed light on the chilling case of Brandy Odom, a story that serves as a stark reminder of the greed and cruelty that can lurk within the hearts of people. As we continue to delve into the world of true crime, we invite you to become an active part of our community. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our latest investigations. If you found this case intriguing, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Your likes help us to reach more crime enthusiasts like you. We value your thoughts and perspectives. Do share them in the comments section below. Did this case leave you with questions? Do you have theories about what really happened? We're eager to hear from you. If you know of other true crime stories that you think we should cover, don't hesitate to let us know. Your suggestions might just become our next investigation. Lastly, if you believe others would find our content as intriguing as you do, please share our videos. Every share helps us grow our community of true crime explorers. Remember, every story holds a lesson, and every crime leaves a trace. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and keep exploring with us on The Real Crime Diary.